Most people assume that to seek meaning or do good, you have to sacrifice money. That's why 91% of people have purpose anxiety, meaning they feel like they should have a purpose, that they should do something that matters, but they don't know what it is and they're not living that way. Today, we're going to prove to you that purpose is actually the foundation for profit and that you can transform your life into the dream life you've always wanted, starting with purpose. My name's Kim, and this is my brother Garrett. This is the Prime Grit Mission.
So imagine this. You can wake up, go play on the beach, and do whatever you want with your time, but you still are making money while you're doing that. And while you're doing it, the system, the business that you've built is actually doing good and helping other people. You have found yourself with the ultimate form of freedom, and then the ultimate form of being just capable of actually doing things. And you're doing good. You're helping people around you. You're helping the people that you serve in your business. You're helping the people that you give to. You're helping the people in your family, around you, your friends. Everyone that you touch is blessed because of the thing that you built that is continually giving more and more. You have essentially set up your life to live whatever way you'd want, whatever the dream life looks like for you. Constant vacations, a lot of family time, downtime, escapes, whatever it may be. But you've done it in a way that is doing good and blessing other people.
Just keeps getting better and better, and it started with the beach, so that's hard to even do.
Yeah, the beach is a favorite, for sure. It's probably because we're landlocked. We're not by it. Well, most people would hear something like that, and they'd say it's impossible.
Yeah, fantasy life.
Yeah, like if I told you, hey, Kim, I can sell you this life, what would you say?
I'd say, I don't have enough money for that.
That is probably what most people would say.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have enough money for it. And I think most people would also just say, like, that works for somebody else. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like, other people can get that when they're blessed or when they're lucky or when they have it given to them. You know what I mean? But we don't think we can have it for ourselves. And today we're going to show you that, yes, you can. You just need to know what the map actually looks like to be able to get there.
I love that it's not, is it possible? It's like, yes, it's possible. You just don't know how right now. And we're going to show you how.
So why do you think that people feel like it is unattainable?
I think in large part, it's our system that we're funneled into in life that keeps us from really feeling like it's possible. Like you go to college, that's kind of like the system. You go to college, you decide what you're going to do for your 40-40 plan is what I call it. 40 hours a week for 40 years till you retire on a meager income and don't live your dream life.
Gag.
Yeah. That's the system, and I feel like everyone goes into it and thinks that they're getting something great, but it's actually not that great. And then you spend all your time saying, like, I am this job, I am a doctor, I am a manager, I am a salesperson. You feel your life as if this role is everything.
Like it's your identity.
Yeah, like it's your identity. And it keeps you from really becoming what you should be and could be and would want to be even, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That makes sense. So talking about the 40-40 plan, they did this study, and what they found is that most people, the retirement age is 65, right? 20% of people don't make it to 65. They die. So that leaves 8. Of those 8, 5 of them, when they get to retirement age, their actual retirement will be less than what their current standard of living is.
Yikes. Which can't even be that great, right?
No, I mean, it just depends, Yeah. But that leaves only 3 out of the 10 that make it to retirement and can sustain their current lifestyle. So most people are trading all their time for money. They're selling their time for money. And then they're hoping at some point that they'll get enough money that they'll be able to have money and have their time, but the studies show it's not working. It's failing 70% of the time. A system that is, failing 70% of the time is not a good system, right? And I think we all kind of hope, like, I need to be smart, I need to do the right things, and then I'll make it to retirement and I'll get this goal at the end, right? I'll have my golden years, if you will. But even the people that do, of that 30% that make it, a lot of them die shortly after.
Yeah.
True. And then a lot of them, or they'll have like emergencies or something that will happen and they'll be, stuck in a wheelchair or whatever, And so it makes it hard. And the other thing too is if you have, a spouse and there's the two of you and you're both trying to do that, you both have to beat the odds for you to make it. Yeah. It can't just be one of you. You both need to beat the odds in order to do it, which makes your 30% chance down to 15.
Yeah. It's grim.
Yeah, it's grim. And that's the trick, though, that I think people have bought into. That is, if I sell my time for money, at some point I'll get it back. And the system, if it's designed for that, it's bad at it. It fails at it more often than not, right? And the thing that most people know, they know it deep in their heart, but they don't actually live it, is that time is infinitely more valuable than money. If I was going to offer you, Kim, $1 billion, but you would die, would you take that?
Nope.
No.
Hard no.
Right? It just doesn't do you any good. Because you have all the money in the world, but if you die, if you're dead, you can't spend it, right? And so you can get more money, you cannot get more time. And so we end up spending the best years of our life building somebody else's dream and building somebody else's empire and doing work that maybe we're not fit for. We're just completing tasks and then hoping that at the end somehow that will work out for us. But the sad reality is that it doesn't.
So what is the solution then?
So Prime Grit and what we talk about here on this podcast is exactly that, right? How you can go from whatever your current situation is, right? And we've experienced this, but from kind of stuck in the system, maybe feeling like you're just stuck, to the dream life that you want to have, you can have that. And most people say, like what you said, well, it costs a lot of money, right? And you have to have money to be able to make it work. But money is not the thing that is preventing you from having your dream life. What actually is preventing you is your purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, you're never actually going to be able to live that dream life. Because even if you got everything and you felt like you were successful, you'd find out that actually something is still missing.
I think that is the key, is that even having all the money in the world, you're not going to find the fulfillment that you want. Like, it can't be a dream life just because there's money. That money doesn't make the dream, right?
Right.
So I want to just define for everybody what we kind of mean when we say purpose, because I feel like it can be kind of a broad term, and we mean a very specific thing when we say purpose.
Yeah.
So just for everybody to kind of comprehend what we're saying purpose is something you specifically were designed to do because of your gifts, your skills, your life experiences that have shaped you into the kind of person that can help someone specific because of the life that you lived. And you can help them in a way that only you can because you are unique. Would you add anything to that?
So one thing I'd say about purpose is that because you are unique and your skills and your experience is unique, there are people that only you can reach. And because only you can reach them, if you don't do it in your way and your style for your thing, nobody will. And I think God set it up that way, where we're all different. We can all bring something to the table. Yeah. But instead, we try and put these identities and fit ourselves into these identities that are actually just job titles.
Yeah.
And, a job description will never encompass a person. And so people are living without purpose. What did you say, 91%?
Yep, 91%.
That's basically everybody. Yeah. The other 9% that were in the survey clearly just didn't read it.
Yeah.
Or they already found their purpose. I don't know.
Misread it and answered wrong.
But that's basically everybody, right? 91% of people is a lot to feel like they have nothing going for them. They don't know what to do in their life. And I don't think things are getting better since that study was done. I think with AI, with, you know, the economy, everything that's going on, I think people are feeling less and less certain about what they're doing, and they're trying harder and harder to hang on to their job titles, right? But that's not going to get them to the dream life that they want to have.
Yeah, it never does. It hasn't yet, at least. Yeah. And I think that is the most important thing, is to know, like, we have a purpose. Each person has a purpose. They can reach a specific group. But what we're trying to prove today to everybody is that having a purpose will lead to fulfillment and happiness, and also profit. Just one more thing on that is, it's super interesting to me how, like, strongly people are trying to hold on to their job titles. Like, it is just another sign that people desperately want, like, purpose and meaning and identity. Yeah. But they're getting it from the wrong things. Like, they're getting it from things that won't fulfill or won't satisfy.
Yeah. And because of that, AI is seen as a threat. Yeah. Because it will take away their job title, right? And it'll take away their source of income. But if you have a purpose and, like, people you want to reach and things you want to do that actually help people, you look at AI as like, wow, that's a really cool tool to make that happen. It's powerful for what it can do, right? Because I have a purpose and I have something I want to accomplish. AI allows me to accomplish it. So it's cool. But if you don't have a purpose,
faster and better.
Yeah. But if you don't have a purpose, that's not how you think about AI.
Specifically because, and we'll get into this in future podcasts, but specifically because you are unique, like, you know that your purpose is unique. So even if it technically fills a job title role, the way that you can do it and the way that what you have to offer is different and unique, even if there's other people doing it. And so AI can help you do it the way that you would do it, in a different way than anyone else could do it. And that makes it not threatening. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Translate it for...
I think what you're saying is that you do things in your own unique way. And part of that is your own gift. And it could even, part of it is like how you would even fulfill your purpose.
Yeah.
And AI can actually push that further for you.
In your way.
In your way, not in the traditional, it has to be this way, right?
Exactly.
And there's also a right and a wrong way to use AI with all of this stuff, right? But yeah, that's a good point. And just one last thing on this before I want to really show all the examples that we have and prove, like, what we're talking about is real. Like, you find your purpose and it builds the foundation for this dream life that you want to have. And so this last thing before we get into that, right? I want to say, I know you can't live your dream life by building someone else's, because if you're not an owner, it doesn't work for you, right? So I had an experience where I was working at a company and I was managing a team and we were growing really quick, right? And I was actually getting more money faster and faster. But I was working with a sales leader and I had this idea that would help the whole company make everything run better. We did a test on it without telling anybody, which, I don't know, I just thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, we'll leave that.
We didn't get permission per se, but in that month that we were in that test, the system that I put in gave just that one sales manager, he made it over an extra $100,000 in sales that month.
That's so crazy.
Right? And that company had over 100 sales reps, across the country. And so what happened is we ran that test. It worked so well. The CEO called me and he's like, "Hey, Garrett, what the heck did you do?" And I thought I might be in trouble. But I told him, I was like, "Look,
may or may not have done
I had this
something.
idea. I talked to the manager. We decided we could try it. It worked out really well." He's like, "I love it." And he gave me a $15,000 raise just right there. And then he took everyone on my team and gave them raises. And he said, "We're implementing this company-wide. It's going to go amazing," right? And so he made $100,000 in the first month in sales, right? Before we had flushed out the system, ran it well, all these things, Mm-hmm. But they had over 100 sales reps. So if each one was able to get an extra $100,000 in sales, that's $10 million a month. That's $120 million a year, right? And he gave me a $15,000 raise. And I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful. That I was grateful for it. And what he did was, it's the right thing to do. And he was nice about it. And the fact they did to my team show he went above and beyond. But in that moment, I can look back at that and realize he was bringing in an extra $120 million, right? Mm-hmm. and there's costs and everything that goes in there. Like he's not netting that, but he's bringing in 120 million, and to give me, and that's every year, and then to give me a $15,000 raise is nothing, right? And it's like I can realize that's the right thing for him to do. I shouldn't be complaining, but I'm saying I realized you cannot get rich building something for somebody else. You need to be an owner. If you don't own it, you will not benefit from it in the same way, right? So that's the whole point, to say you need to do more than just accept the job title, do the 40 for 40, like you were saying, and hope that you get into retirement. That system doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
And waiting for a break is not going to come, right? And I've had times where I've saved money and saved it, but then emergencies come or something happens and you end up spending it, and then your whole plan's down the drain.
It goes so fast when you hit an emergency or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, it can, for sure. But anyway, now I want to show some of the examples that we pulled that really illustrate this really quickly. So you start, Kim. Tell us about the first one that you have.
So these stories are to prove the power of purpose. And this one is one of my favorites. Her name is Jacqueline Novogratz, maybe.
Novogratz.
Yeah, probably.
No, I think she's American, so I don't know.
But she's a young international banker. She's flying all over the world. She's making tons of money. She's successful in every way that you could possibly imagine.
And young, too.
And young.
Yeah, at 25, she was already an international banker flying around making tons of money.
She was a big deal and young. And she, at 25 was just like, this isn't it. Like, I'm not happy. And she kept seeing in her job, obviously, she kept seeing how much money moved around like crazy. But it wasn't like, so little of that money was getting to the people that really needed money. And she quit her job. She left Wall Street and she went to Rwanda. And she actually founded a bank that gives micro loans to specifically women that are in poverty to help them get out. And they're called like patient loans, I think. Was that the name?
Yeah, because they delay like payment back for years sometimes.
Yeah, like
those
up
were even
to
their
15
bigger loans.
years.
Those were the bigger loans that she was giving to invest in the community.
Yeah.
Those microloans, I don't think were quite that, but
yeah.
But either way, like she had this whole system built out to like get the money to the people who needed it that had already proven they are willing to work hard, right? For pennies. So if you give them the opportunity to own something, it would change it, right? And that's where she found her purpose, was seeing like there are people that need help, that are ready and willing to work, and they don't have an avenue.
And what I love about her story is that she, because of her life experiences, was able to go start a bank somewhere where they really needed it and offer loans, like because of all her financial experience, right? So even if I had a passion for like poverty in Rwanda, I wouldn't go about it the same way that she did because I don't have that same life experience. And that's like the whole thing we're talking about is like your life, your skills, your experiences shaped her into a person that could do that for them, right? Better than I could do it for them, even if I had the same passion for it, which is amazing.
And a cool thing about Jacqueline too was...
You're going to tell the cute part? The cutest part?
Yes. Stop saying cute.
No. It's so cute. Let me tell it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So she donated a blue sweater that she had for a long time and loved to, I think, was it the
Salvation
Army? Yeah.
But it also showed too that like part of who she was and one of her passions was already to take care of the needy.
Yeah, she was a giver.
Right? And I think that's important, that your passions are part of your purpose, right? They align.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So she gives away this blue sweater. And then years later in Rwanda, she sees a boy wearing her sweater, and she goes up to the boy and it has her name on the tag, and she knew it was hers. Oh, that's so cute. That's the sweetest, most amazing story I've ever heard, probably. I love that.
It shows full circle.
Yeah.
And what really changed, and this goes to what we're talking about, is she realized that what she was doing was a skill that she had built, but it was not being used in a way that was benefiting the people who needed it, right? She's turning millionaires into multimillionaires as opposed to lifting people that really need it. And her skill was designed to help people with the financing side, right? So when she actually decided, this is my purpose, her skills, her passions, they aligned perfectly with what it was, right? And that's kind of, I think, how it works. Like, we have these desires in your heart. And I think what that really is saying is, like, God put these desires in your heart. He gave you these passions. He gave you these skills so that you could use them in the way that he wants you to do it. When she actually found out what her purpose was, it changed everything, right? Her life completely changed. And to the point where she was an owner of their acumen, is what they called it. She was helping people. She could go visit Rwanda to do these, loans and managing everything. But she also would go, and they did these patient loans for companies that would help them get clean water and food and farming and clothing for the people who needed it most. Like, her entire life changed from traveling, working with grumpy rich people and their money, to helping the poorest people who needed it most. Like, the fulfillment that she had after that, the freedom that she got from becoming the owner, everything changed when she found her purpose, not when she got paid.
And I love, there's so many things I want to say about this, but well, the first one being that she had to do it through business or it wouldn't be scalable to help all the people that she helped, right? And that's really important for what we teach. Like, it was through business, that's powerful. But also that...
Well, so she used a dual entity model, which we'll talk about. But it is business driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that I wanted to say is that it's cool to me that she had to go through what she had to go through to get there. Like, she had to be a high class, fancy banker lady to become the person that she needed to be to then serve these people.
Do you think bankers are high class? I was a banker.
Oh, never mind. I used to think it, but now I don't. But yeah, it's like because of the life she lived, she was made to do that. And it's like, you don't need to feel bad if you're not quite there yet. Like, what you're experiencing now in your life could very well be shaping everything that you'll do in the future, but with real purpose that's helping somebody else. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So one more example. Okay. This one is Earl Bakken.
I don't know. For some reason, they all have interesting last names. You're just never going to know how to say them.
That's why you need a name like Gundestrup in order to be successful. Yeah. You know what I mean? The Smiths never make it. Yeah. Well, Ryan Smith owns the Jazz, so maybe not. Okay, so I want to tell another example. This one is about Earl Bakken. So Earl was essentially a TV repairman. That's kind of how he started. He ended up getting a job fixing some things at a hospital. He had a contract there with them. And his first month, he made $8. So,
he fixed one tiny little thing.
Wasn't working out very well for him, right? And then on Halloween, the hospital he was at had a blackout. Like, I'm sure the town did or whatever. But
yeah.
In that hospital, there was somebody on a pacemaker. And because the power went out, they died.
Because the pacemaker is attached to the wall.
Because the pacemaker was attached to the wall, right? And so Earl, because he's a repairman, and he talked to the surgeon who was in charge of this patient, he decided he's going to find a solution, because this shouldn't happen, right? He fixes things. He could have saved that guy's life. I think it hit him hard that it was local in his hospital, and he decided there's something I can do about it, right? And so he took his skill. He could fix things. He could build things. He could tinker, whatever you want to call it, right? And so he went, and in his garage, in 4 weeks, he built what became the very first mobile battery-powered pacemaker in the world, right? This was 1957. He built that pacemaker and then turned it into his own product and his own company. It's called Medtronic. Today, it is worth $100 billion, and they have helped save millions of people's lives around the world. Because, and so look at that. He had a moment where he was kind of going nowhere, right? He's fixing stuff for almost no money. And then he has this hard thing that kind of rocked his world come in. And instead of just trying to brush it off or hide from it or bury it deep, he decided, I'm going to act on it. he decided, I'm going to live the purpose. I'm going to find the solution. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to do something now. And he went in and he built it. And what that turned into was saving millions and millions of people's lives, but also turned into him having this amazing lifestyle where he owns this multi-billion-dollar company and can do anything that he really wants to do while saving people's lives.
And I think that's the powerful part about it is he also feels good because he's making a difference. And I love his story because he literally was a repairman. He was not the maker of things. He was a repairman, and he literally bought something off of a magazine, like an electronic magazine, and then adjusted it, like figured out how to change it so that he could create this pacemaker, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, it's really cool.
He had a famous quote. I'm going to read it so I say it right. Okay, he said that your assignment can find you in the middle of an ordinary job, right? And here is what Earl said. He said, you are here to restore people to full life. He's saying that even though he's just a repair person, he's here to restore people to full life. And his company, Medtronics, they still have that as their purpose statement for everything.
I love that.
Yes, I think it's so cool because it became like his phrase, his purpose phrase, like restore people to full life. And because he cared about that, he was able to build everything that came after and have that wonderful life that was saving people's lives, literally.
And I love it because it's a full life, like to full life. And that's almost like what we want people to do, not in the same way, like he's talking about, like living physically. But like we want to invite people to a full, abundant life. Like that's what God wants us to have. Yeah. And that's like what we're trying to bring people to. It's like you're not in the life that God has for you, most likely. You're most likely in the 91%. And we want you to become someone that lives a full life, truly.
And I think if Earl would have just said, my job is my identity. Yeah. I am I don't know exactly what he fixed.
Pacemaker builder.
Well, no, like before I even had that.
Oh.
When he was working at the hospital, right?
I'm a repairman.
I'm a repairman, right? I'm not a engineer, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a health person. I don't know anything about the heart. How can I build a pacemaker? How can I do these things, right?
Yeah.
If he said, I'm a repairman, and that was his identity, he would have lived and died as a repairman, right? He would have said, this is my job. This is what I do. I'm going to leave it at that. But instead, he decided, I can find my assignment, my purpose in life through an ordinary job. And because he was willing to do that, his life and who he is not ever really deemed a repairman, right? You wouldn't look at him as the founder and owner of a $100 billion company and say, he's just a repairman.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. But that's what we do sometimes. We get stuck in these ruts and say like, my job is my life, or this is what I am, this is my identity. And it's just not, right? God built you for more than that, right? Earl was built to be more than just a repairman. Although that was something he was good at, something he probably liked or could enjoy doing, he was built for more than that. And when he finally was willing to step up and say, I'm going to do it, everything changed. When he finally accepted his purpose and found it and lived it, everything changed.
I think 2 thoughts I have on this. I think it's amazing that I really admire about him that he saw a problem and decided to do something about it, even if it didn't perfectly fit his mold right then. Because it's like the famous phrase, like, somebody should do something about that, you're somebody, you know, that like dichotomy. And he was like, somebody should do something about it, and I am somebody, and I'm going to do something about it. And I think if we all were a little bit more like that, we'd probably find our purposes faster, and also the world would be a better place. And he made it a better place, which is amazing. And then the other thing that I thought was, I forgot. Earl, what was it?
Bakken.
Oh, well, carry on. I'm not going to, if I remember, I'll say it.
Okay, so I want to tell another example, right? And I'm going to try and do these ones faster, but I just want to show everybody that there are so many examples of this happening that it's not a coincidence, it's a pattern, and you can absolutely follow this path to have it happen in your life, right? In fact, you were literally born for it. But so this one is about Sal Khan.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell it.
Fine. I'll interject when I want to.
Okay, so Sal had 2 degrees from MIT and an MBA from Harvard. And then he had a prestigious hedge fund analyst job, right? So he was making very good money. He was dealing with the ultra wealthy. He was ultra educated.
Yeah.
You know, like he had lived his life up here, right? But then in 2004, he had a cousin and she was struggling with math. And he's super smart, right? So he was willing to help his younger cousin with math. And they were just doing it remotely, right? So, you know, over the phone, on the computer, he's just helping her remotely. And then the rest of the family started realizing like, oh man, Sal's helping out people and he's a genius. Like, have him help our kids too, you know? So he starts helping the whole family. And because he had multiple people needing the help and he didn't want to spend hours and hours doing it, he would just record them and put them on YouTube. And then what he started seeing is that strangers started looking and reading his or watching his videos and being like messaging him on there or even comments saying like, I understand math now because of you, or I'm doing this because of you. And something hit him inside. And he realized this is more important than being a hedge fund analyst. This is more important than this. Like I should actually be a teacher and I should help people teach. That's my skill. That's my gift. That's where I get my fulfillment. That's my purpose. So he quit his job and actually just started completely for free, didn't charge anything, teaching everybody online. And he started what is now called Khan Academy.
Which I feel like most people have heard of.
I've heard it. My kids watch it all the time. They have Khan Academy kids all the time. And in fact, even for me myself, I've looked on there for a couple things just to look for it.
And he also quit with a newborn and his wife was about to start medical school. Like sometimes your purpose when it comes knocking, it's not like the most convenient time, you know, but he was like, no, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, when you know what it is, you go in, right? And you want to, and it feels good. Like you don't hate doing the work. Like you feel energized by it, right? It was like the hedge fund manager job was like, here's the best choice available by the world standards of I make good money. I'm in the best circles. I have stability. You know, I have all these things.
Yeah, on paper, it looks amazing.
And then he probably still struggled going to work sometimes. And he probably came home and was like, I'm sick of looking at numbers, right? Maybe not because he liked numbers, clearly. But, you know, he's probably sick of it sometimes, right? When he starts doing his YouTube thing in Khan Academy, he's getting fulfilled every time because he's seeing the impact on these kids. And he realizes, I want to help kids. I want to help people learn. And what he says is that he wanted to give a free world-class education for anyone, anywhere. I mean, I think that's a powerful purpose, right? And then you think, okay, well, if you're going to give it for free, how are you going to make money? Well, guess what? Khan Academy has hundreds of millions of views, maybe billions, I don't know, but tons and tons of views. The guy's getting paid a fortune through YouTube, you know, not to mention all the other things that he probably has on the side from it. Because again, he was a hedge fund analyst. He knows what he's doing. But it's like the life that he built became his dream life where he helps people and still makes all the money, has his free time, controls his life. He quit selling his time for money and started using his time to build something for his life, to build his own kingdom, to build his own empire instead of somebody else's. And it changed everything. But again, it didn't change because he had money or was making money. It changed when he found and lived his purpose.
When he found the people that needed his help specifically, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's getting paid money for sure. I'm sure he's successful and wealthy, but he's getting paid, I think, what drove him to keep doing it was like the fulfillment, which I feel like is true of all of these stories. That's like, you get money almost as a like side product to it, but you get paid through the fulfillment, like, and really helping people that you are passionate about. And he's getting like all these messages from kids that are like, you're the reason I stayed in school. Like, I didn't give up on school because of you. I finally understood something that's taken me years to try to understand. Like, it's amazing what he did, and it fit him. And it made me remember what I was going to say about the last guy.
Okay.
That all these stories we're going through, they actually find their purpose kind of just living a natural life. And I think a lot of times, like, if you just pay attention to what your life and where it's taken you, you're kind of going to get your hints and know, like, okay, this is actually what I care about, what I'm passionate about, what matters, and who I can help. Like, they came to these things naturally through life almost.
I think I might disagree with you on that a little bit.
He was just helping his niece.
Yeah, I mean, it was a natural thing, right? But I think there was probably this. I mean, you're right? Sometimes that's exactly how it'll be, right? And then a lot of ones we've talked about,
figure it out.
It's exactly what it is, right? But I think all of them have this moment where, and I'm maybe guessing, some of the stories we have this moment, and I'm maybe applying it to them when maybe it doesn't belong. But hear me out.
I'll allow it.
I'm sure all of them had a moment where they're like, there must be more than this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's like they're just super content with what they're doing, and so this opportunity pops up, and then they just jump ship. You know, I think they all have this kind of feeling that I'm meant to do more than this. I can do more than this. Like, there has to be something besides this. Like, they go to bed and they're like, was this really what my life is going to be like in 40 years? You know?
I think there's a natural drive in all of us.
Yeah, there's like a call for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love seeing how many respond to the call. And hopefully, watching this podcast and through Prime Grit and hearing this, more people will respond to the call that comes for more. Because there is more and it is attainable. Okay,
so another example. I'm going to do this one really quick.
And you're going to try to do it quick, but I'm going to interrupt you a bunch.
Plus, let's not kid ourselves. I don't do anything quick. But this is Bryan Stevenson. Okay, so he was a law student and in Harvard, right? So prestigious as well. But he said by his own account, he didn't have a clue why he was in law school. Didn't like it, didn't care for it, wasn't good at it.
Interesting.
You know, I just don't think he had this, like, what you think of lawyers, like this killer instinct, I don't care about right and wrong, I'm going to win the argument type of gene in him, right? He didn't have that, right? He had this maybe desire for justice, which is probably what led him to law, but then he's in law school and he's like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
You know, like, didn't like it. So by his own account, he said he didn't like it. And then as part of his internship that he had to do, he got sent to a prison to a man on death row. And he had to go.
So hard.
He had to go tell this man that because of their legal filings or whatever, he would not die this year. So,
woof.
You know, I don't know. That's kind of good news. At least you're not telling him like, hey man, came through, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? He
such a weird life.
Yeah, he had to go just tell him that, hey, you're going to live, you know, at least for the end of this year. And the man's name was Henry. So he goes in there, talks to Henry, and this is the first time Henry had been out of his cell for, I think, years. It's the first person he'd seen besides prison workers in years.
Wow.
Maybe his lawyer, I don't know. But it was like new for him, right? And so Bryan tells Henry, you're going to live for this year. And Henry got so excited that he stood up, planted his feet, and then sang a line of a hymn.
Oh.
That was, let me read it really quick. It was, Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. What Henry didn't know is Bryan had grown up and that song was sung to him by his mother and at church, where it just had stuck with him for whatever reason. And he said being that close to the man singing that song said changed him forever, right? So he went from, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, to he saw this man on death row sing a hymn saying, Lord, put me on higher ground. And he said he wanted to be a part of that. The hymn that had stuck him from his childhood now came full circle. And he's like, I need to be a part of this. So he actually started his own law firm all about helping people that are wrongly convicted or on death row get their feet on higher ground. He wanted to prove that we can help the people that are wrongly accused find freedom and have change. And we can help the people that are at the bottom of the bottom also have a chance, even if it's still in prison, have a chance to change their life. right?
That literally gave me chills. I didn't know that one. I hadn't heard that story.
So, I mean, it's awesome, right? But it shows, kind of what we were talking about is he felt like he had nowhere to go and nothing to do, right? And he felt like this longing of like, what am I even doing with my life, right? And then when the moment came in front of him, and I think it happens to all of us, I think these moments of calling to our purpose flash before your eyes multiple times in your life, right? And it'll just keep coming around. More often than not, we ignore it or we're not looking for it. So you don't recognize it when you see it. Have you ever had that experience where someone tells you like, hey, look around the room, tell me look around the room and find all the brown things that you can. And you go around, you find all the brown things. And he says, okay, you found all the brown things? You say, yeah. He says, okay, how many green things are there? And you're like, is there anything green?
Got me.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, because you're not looking for it, right? Yeah. We go through our life looking so often as like, what's the best job title I can get? What's the fanciest house I can afford? What's the biggest car? What's the best car I can buy, right? And we're just trying to like one up and literally just one step up our status or our living situation as opposed to saying, how can I actually live my purpose, even if I have to start over, right? And so these moments pop in front of us and we're not looking for them, and so we miss them. But when we actually decide, hey, I'm going to find it, I'm going to look for it, then you'll see it, right? And when we have, a book and a masterclass that all talks about how to find your purpose, and we'll go over that in another podcast too. But when you actually start looking, it's not that far from where you are because it was put into you with your passions. It was put into you with your skills, your gifts, the way you think, the experiences that you've had.
And that God wants you to find it.
Yes, you're built for it. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
It is easy to find when you're actually looking for it.
And it's like I feel like God all along the way is just planting these seeds for you to go back and like reap the harvest and find your purpose. Like they were there all along, even if you didn't see it. Like just hearing that story, I'm like, man, God was in that,
The whole time.
Yeah.
Right? And I think he's that way with everybody.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, I know it.
So now it's you saying that you know it. Tell us how you know that. I know the story, but tell us how you know it.
So I know it in a couple ways. One is like I've recognized the pattern that's there. Right? So like, I mean, I could tell these stories for days that we've been going over, and I could do them way more in depth and whatever. I'm sure another podcast we will. But let's look at another one. David Heath and Randy Goldberg, right? They had standard corporate jobs, realized it wasn't good enough and they needed to do something more. So they quit and they founded, what really happened is they heard one thing that they said they couldn't get out of their heads. And it was that homeless people need socks the most, and it's the least donated item because people don't donate old socks.
Yeah.
Stuck with them. They decided we're going to solve that problem. They quit their jobs. They started a sock company. Similar to Tom's, it was buy a pair of socks, we give a pair to the homeless. They've turned that company into $1 billion company, and they have given away hundreds of millions of socks to the homeless. Another one is...
It's so hard to skip the details of these stories. They're so sweet.
Yeah, I'm going to just try and rapid fire these for you. But Tyler Perry, if people have heard of him, the producer, okay, he had this, he was abused and beat physically as a kid. And so he had felt like he had been forgotten and left behind. And he decided it's my purpose to change that. So when he was 22, he saved up all his own money and put on his own play to try and help people that felt that same way. Complete flop. Nobody came. For 6 years, nobody came.
And he kept going.
He kept doing it, funding it himself. So he owned it 100%. When he finally had his break and it went through, he owned 100% of everything. And he created this masterpiece that shows people can... He says that he wants to have people with faith enjoy movies with their families. And he says he can make that possible and he can help them have a transformation all because of what he experienced. He found his purpose and he found it young, right? But he found it saying, I've been through this terrible thing. I'm going to turn it into something way better.
And he said that it was important to him to do it even if 8 people came to the theater because he wanted those 8 people to know that they could heal from the terrible things that have happened to them in their life.
Yep.
So sweet.
Another one is Daniel Lubutsky. His dad was in a concentration camp. And of all the stories that he told him, he said one stuck with him. It was when a German guard, a Nazi guard, snuck a rotten potato to his dad that kept him alive. And he said because of that...
All these stories are so good.
Because of that, Daniel thought, there is kindness in the world, and I'm going to show how kindness can change everything. And because he was a Jew, he actually funded this company. What's it called? Peace World? Peace. It's Peace World. But anyway, what it is it actually took people from both Israel and all the Arab countries around it that hate them so bad, put them in business together, saying that he thinks that working together, sharing in profit, and building something would help them dissipate hate. Peace Works. Okay, there you go. And then as part of that, he ended up starting this other company called Kind. Like everyone's seen those Kind bars. Mm-hmm. They ended up, and then Kind behind it had this, they called it the Kind movement, where all these Kind acts got you a little certificate that I think got you a Kind bar.
Yeah, Kind Awesome. You give Kind Awesome cards.
There you go. That's what it was. Yeah. But he did all these things, and he ended up selling Kind to Mars bars for $5 billion.
And it's so cute. I know you don't want me to say cute, but so cute.
Say so much. Everything's cute. But yeah, and then Efren Pena, Florida.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So he's a 16-year-old kid that's had a lisp and a stutter, and he was beat. He grew up in the slums. He was picked on and bullied, and he saw a lot of the kids in his little neighborhood picked up by these gangs when they're in grade school.
Because they had nowhere else to go.
Well, they had nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, and nothing going for them.
Yeah.
Right? And so he decided at 16, right, with no support, no backing,
no money,
that he could make a difference and not lose his friends and lose people to these gangs. So he got an old shopping cart, filled it up with crayons, pencils, papers, and went around and did a little mobile school for his fellow children, you know, because he's a kid helping the kids, right? And what that became was a worldwide movement that brought education to the slums of the world in a way that had not been done before, right? So all of these people, they all reach this point where they finally accept their purpose, and that's what changes for them. So, I mean, like I said, I've seen that pattern, so I know that if you find purpose, the rest will follow it, right? If you just find money, that may not be enough, right? A lot of these people we told in our stories, they had money before and it wasn't enough, right? But when you find purpose, it's enough, right? And so the other way I know is I had the experience myself. So I had a very successful business career, right? I was making lots of money, very content. And in fact, I even had an opportunity brought to me to be part of owning a company. And I was going to say, nah, I'm good. I'm just content and happy. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to do anything. I got content in my comfort zone. Life happens like it does. Change happened. I had businesses stolen from me twice. I had reached these moments where it was hard. And I finally had this moment where God told me, he said, just stop. He says, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. And I said, okay, what am I supposed to do? Right? And there's no answer. I didn't get the answer to that question right away. And so I said, well, I'm going to figure it out. And so I started doing this process, right? I started taking these steps to try and figure out what it was. And it led me to this moment where I decided I was going to do a business meeting with God, where I was going to make him in charge of all my business ventures and ideas and my life and my career life, my work life as part of that, right? Mm-hmm. And so I did this business meeting with him. And read scripture, said prayer, reached to about the end, and I just had this feeling that said, go read Matthew. I said, okay. So I open up my Bible and I read Matthew 13, 44 and 45. 44 says, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who found treasure in a field, went away rejoicing, sold all they had, and then went and bought that field. And in that moment, I just felt like I could relate to it so much. I felt like that was me, right? Like I wanted so bad to know what that treasure was, what that purpose was for me, right? It was what my treasure was. And the scriptures say, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also, right?
Yeah.
In that moment, all I wanted was to know what was my purpose. What does God want me to do? And I would sell. I would give away everything else that I had to find it. And then the very next verse, it says, and again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant man seeking goodly pearls. And when I first heard that, I thought, that can't be right, because I've seen what business people do. I had companies stolen. I had been stabbed in the back. I had seen the disputes. I had seen the arguments. I'd seen the greed. And I thought, wow, there's something I don't know. And then the qualifier, and this is when it really hit me, when it says, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant man seeking goodly pearls. And then all of a sudden my thought changed. And I realized businesses do more good and they create more things than anything else, more than governments, more than nonprofits, more than individuals. Business actually has an amazing capability for change, right? And we've talked about some, but businesses are what came up with almost all the things that help us. Hearing aids, how about glasses? People can see better. LASIK, right? I mean, plumbing, electricity, right? Everything that you can think of, a business made it possible for us to have this better lifestyle, right? And then when I thought, if you actually took a business and you had to focus on doing good, what could you possibly do? It'd be amazing, right? And so I had this little thing of like, okay, I'm supposed to be a good businessman. And I thought, I was so grateful for it, right? I mean, it's kind of a vague direction, but I felt like, wow, I got something, you know, and it hit me hard, right? And so I prayed and I said, thank you, you know, just thank you. And literally as soon as I could say thank you, I just felt like, boom, like two things came to me at once that I just, you know, they hit me in one moment, but I understood them, right? Even though they're a little complex. The first one was, it said, Garrett, you are not unique. You are not the only one that has a purpose. You're not special. You're not different. You're not better than anyone else. And you have a purpose and they don't. Everyone has a purpose. And then the second thing was, you could have known what this purpose was 13, 14 years ago if you would have done the things that you were doing now to find it. So what that left me with was business can be used for good. And in fact, the kingdom of heaven is like that. The other thing I learned, everybody has a purpose. And then the last thing, you can find it if you just do the steps to find it. It's not a mystical, far out thing. You can find it by simply doing the right steps. So because of that, I know that people have a purpose. And I know that if you're willing to find your purpose and live that, the rest will follow. Everything else will be better. I can't promise that you'll be a millionaire or a billionaire, but I can promise you that your life will be abundant in God's way and in a way that will be far better than if you did it yourself.
Which I think we see in these stories, right? We see all these people that have this moment where God's like, there's more. Here's what it is. Here's what you were made to do. And then there's an abundant life filled with meaning and purpose and fulfillment. And I love the truth that you learn that business isn't bad. It is, it's an object to be acted upon. It's a tool that you can use for good, or you can use it for bad, right? Or for greed, to fill your needs or to change the world, right?
Yeah. I think a lot, and when I tell people that, hey, business can be used for good or business is a good thing, like I get a lot of pushback on that. And even me, myself, in that prayer, I was like, what, business? Nah, that can't be right.
Yeah.
Like I push back on that and I get the pushback. There's a stereotype
or stigma with business.
I get the pushback from it, right? I understand it. Mm-hmm. And I also think that's why in these stories we told, like Jacqueline felt disenfranchised with her international banking career, right? Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that. And it's the same thing with all the people that we've talked about, right? There is a business culture that is not good, that is not beneficial, and that is not good. Like the default is greed. When I ask people what's the purpose of a business, everyone always tells me to make money. Yeah, that's what they say. Mm-hmm. But that's not accurate, right? Think of it this way. The purpose of a human is not to breathe. Like you need air, right? But you're not here just to suck air.
Yeah.
Right? You're here to live your life, and air is just part of the fuel that makes it work, right? A business is the exact same thing. Saying a business's purpose is just to make money is like saying a human's purpose is to breathe, right? It needs money to survive, but that's not why it exists. It can exist for anything you want to give it. It is an extension of yourself. And people don't like hearing that.
Yeah.
Usually because they are extending parts of them they don't like.
And it magnifies yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. People, then that's why they draw this line. They don't want it to be that way. And in fact, legally, a lot of businesses are a separate entity from yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like subconsciously the collective business said, we don't like that being an extension of me. make it different, right? And there's tax reasons too. Let's be real, right? But my point is, like, a business is an extension of yourself. And so when you are extending by default, even if you're a good person and you just haven't consciously thought about it, you are extending a lot of time by default some aspect of greed when it's all about making money, right? And most people don't think about it that way. And most people are good people that want to do good with their business, or at least take good care of their employees, and they like that aspect of it, right? I'm not trying to say everyone's terrible, right? But what I am saying is that you can use that tool for other things besides just money, and money will become fuel to make that happen.
Yeah, and I love the shift from money being almost about this dream life we've talked about, but more so fueled to do good. And then it becomes what we say is your obligation to make as much money as possible, because now you're trying to help somebody else with the money that you make. And then you're doing so much good. So the more money your business makes, the more good you can do. And it becomes this powerful, powerful tool for good instead of a powerful tool for greed.
Yeah.
Which is the invitation that we're asking. Like, inviting is a shift for everybody to go from greed to purpose, or from purposeless to purpose. And there is a clear path for it, which is to turn your life over to God. It's to look at those seeds that pop up that He's putting in front of you. It's to take inventory of your life, pay attention to the gifts that you have, the passions that you have, the things that you've experienced and what they invite you to do. And then turn your life over to God. Be willing to say, like, hey, I'm a rich lady flying around doing banking, but this isn't enough. I want to do God's work. I'm going to go to Rwanda, or I'm going to go give socks to everyone that needs it, you know?
And when you think about them too, about this obligation to then make as much money as possible, like when they founded Bombas, which is, you know, the socks for the homeless, they're probably looking at how many homeless people are there?
Yeah.
And how often do they need socks? You know, it's not like, oh, you get one for your life type of thing.
And even one pair, you need more than one pair of socks.
Right. You know? And so it's like, he suddenly says, if I'm going to solve this problem, I need, I don't know, let's say 1 billion socks. I have no idea what it would really be.
Probably.
We need 1 billion
more.
socks. To get 1 billion socks, you need to make a ton of sales, you know, and you need to have the infrastructure to get them to the people who need it when they need it. Right. And so to build that out takes money. It takes this fuel to make it happen. Right. And here's the thing is and this is where nonprofits, I think, get it wrong, is they say, we get this money and we want to give as much as possible to the cause. So we'll take 1% to survive off of, and we'll give 99% to the cause. Well, what happens to that nonprofit?
They can't sustain.
They can't scale. They can't grow. They can't build the infrastructure needed. They can't build the pipelines necessary. They can't hire the people to actually solve the problem. They're so dependent on a donor. And that donor has this mindset of, when I give $1, I want a dollar going to the cause. I don't want you guys to get it. Yeah. Right? It's such a backwards mindset, not because, you know, people are bad, but they're just looking at it the wrong way. They're looking at it as, when I donate, I want to go to a cause. What you really should say is, when I donate, I want that donation to be a building block to stop the problem forever.
Yeah.
And if that was really the case, these nonprofits would operate completely different. But they can't. They have too much red tape. They have too many restrictions on the way that they're able to get money. Then they're so donor dependent that they have to prove and show, we're doing this success. So, like, take water, for example. You know, we work with someone who has said that his part of what he wants to do is to help people get clean water, right? And when he first said it, he's like, yeah, I want to help them build wells. I thought, that's great, you know? And he's saying, I'm going to give over 90% of everything I earn to make wells. And I told him, that's a bad plan.
Yeah.
And it's kind of counterintuitive.
It is.
Right? But I was like, if you do that, you will never build out the infrastructure to actually do it. And what happens when a well goes, you know, average well only lasts 2 years before it malfunctions, it breaks in, it caves in, something, right? Like, what happens if you can build as many wells as possible, but now that well collapses? Is your money just wasted? Like, do you have the infrastructure to maintain that? Do you have the whole thing set up to maintain that, right? They don't focus on a forever fix. Most nonprofits say, we give 1 million water bottles, or we build 1,000 wells. They don't say and a lot of them want to stop, you know, people dying from thirst or get clean water to everybody.
Yeah.
But their system is not built up that way.
And it can't be. That's the point.
It can't be. if you're doing it strictly off donations and doing it in a non-sustainable, non-scalable way. That's why business wins. You've never heard of a nonprofit that became a unicorn, right? Which is, they make over $1 billion, right? You haven't heard of a nonprofit that grew 100x. You haven't seen those things. But business, that's like a daily occurrence. It is consistent. You can rely on it. It's sustainable. And not only that, you control the whole entire system. You become the source of the good that you're doing because it's built around what already exists and that you can rely on.
And it's the same thing with governments, which I'm sure you can speak to, but essentially because of the way that government is formed, they rely so heavily on people's preference, whoever they're trying to get votes from, that they have to cater to that so heavily that they will switch which problems they're focusing on, or they'll just address a symptom instead of the actual root of the problem. And it'll take way longer. There's so much red tape in government as well to get anything done. That's just, it can't scale and grow and fix the way a business can. And that's what is so powerful about businesses, because you own your business. You can do anything you want with your business, with your money. No one can.
Within reason. Ken. All right, there's laws.
Yeah. But you have this power then to extend the goodness out further than any other entity can currently.
Yep.
And it's not that nonprofits or business people couldn't do it. It's just their system set up legally right now. It just can't be that. It can't be what a business can be.
It can't, right? And that's the thing is, so if you look at nonprofits or governments, they just can't compare to what a business can do. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I'm just one person. But that's the coolest thing about what we're living today, is we're living in an age where there will be solo entrepreneurs that are billionaires. That's the power of what AI can do for you when you have a purpose, is you can use that. What used to take an army of people, you can do by yourself in a system that makes it work, right? So I know a lot of these stories we talk about how it starts with one person and then we talk about this massive organization after, right? We don't need that. Like the time that it took from them to do that to that, or a lot of times it's fast, relatively speaking, for like how normal business would, because purpose accelerates it.
Yeah.
But to build out a big company like that takes time, right? Nowadays, today, there are people that are already making millions and hundreds of millions with AI, right? And in fact, I know one example, and it was actually fraudulent company, so I'm not going to use it as a good example, but he became a billionaire using AI for fraud. So not ideal. Don't do that.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it's like, it's possible. He showed it's possible.
Yeah.
Now, if you do it for good, I think it'll be possible and sustainable, right? That's the power of AI, right? And so that's why we're living in a time where it's exciting, where you don't have to feel like, well, I already am a wealthy or successful person, or I have all these skills. You don't need it. You don't need it today. Like, what you need is your purpose. And then the AI can follow. We have a free masterclass for anyone who wants to take it. That it shows exactly how you can use your AI in a way that's not being used today to actually fulfill your purpose and make AI 10 times more powerful than how most people are using it, 100 times from the people that just use a chatbot.
Which means that your purpose, or the people you're trying to help, are getting help 100 times faster or 100 times more effective than they could in any other way. And that you, one single person, can make a difference today.
Yep.
When you start finding your purpose and using the tools that God's made available. Like, so many people hate AI and think it's the worst thing ever, but I think it's just another tool that can be used for good or bad, and that when done in the right ways with God can be so powerful and so helpful to bless so many of God's children. It's incredible.
Well, and don't get it twisted. Like, there's people and they're using AI for wrong.
Yeah.
And there's ways that AI is bad, but it's like any tool. It's in the hand of the holder. And the person holding that tool is the one that makes it a masterpiece or destructive.
Yeah.
Right. But one thing I want to say, moving past the AI stuff, for all of these people and for anyone who wants to actually find your purpose, you will find your purpose in the person who made you, which is God. God knows what he made you for, He knows exactly the skills, talents, the way that you think, the way that you talk, your shyness or outgoingness, all of that. He put it into you for the thing that you are designed to make. And so when you turn to him and you're willing to give your life to him and to the purpose he has for you, that is what changes it. If you just try to do it on your own, you're going to be getting stuck, getting confused, going the wrong way. You're going to miss out on the life that you could have, on the life that you were designed for, unless you turn your life over to God.
I do want to share one story that I thought of that is really, teaches us so simply and powerfully, but I served a mission for my church in Mexico, and we call them street contacts. You go up and talk to someone and see if they're interested in hearing about the gospel. And we were doing practice ones, and one girl came up and she just bore a sweet testimony of Jesus Christ. And then a boy came up and he just started talking about football with a guy who was wearing a football shirt. And those
football or soccer?
Football.
Okay.
And those ways are very, very different ways to try to bring the gospel to somebody. But I thought it was so powerful because she could reach someone that he could not, and he could reach someone that she clearly would not, right? And it's the same thing, that you can reach somebody because you're you, and God specifically designed you to reach that person. Your life was designed for more than it is right now, and it's to reach a specific person or people. And as you're doing that search, what we invite is that you think about who could I help with the person that I am. And as you think altruistically, you'll come to know what your purpose is, because you have a gift to help somebody in a way that no one else can.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I would say, what we have done since learning all these things is we've built a company called Prime Grit, and it's really built on these two principles. One, and I say principles, principles and convictions, really.
Yeah.
One is that everybody has a purpose. And then two, that business is the most powerful tool to help you fulfill that purpose. And based off those two things, we've built a company designed to help people find their purpose and build a business to fulfill it. And then the transformation that they get from that is to go from wherever you're at in life now to that dream life that you want to have, that blesses you, it blesses your family, blesses your friends, it blesses everyone around you in your company, and it blesses the people that your company actually serves, right? Everybody is lifted up when someone finds their purpose. And that is what we want for you.
So go live with purpose.